With the hot new release of the Morat Aggression Forces Action Pack, which Corvus Belli very kindly sent me to review. You can check out that review somewhere up there. I never know which direction the camera flips. But since doing that review, I have not been able to stop thinking about these big red apes. And so it makes sense that the next thing we do covering them and the contents of that action pack is a painting guide, and this gives me an opportunity to start to explore how I want to paint them for my army going forward. But it makes sense, of course, that if I'm going on that journey, I take you along with me. So before we jump into the painting, do me a solid and consider giving this video a like and maybe subscribing to the channel, because those things really help me get these videos seen by more wargamers. And that's better for everyone, I hope. Okay, shall we do some painting? You might be wondering why I have all my Morats zenithally primed, especially if you've watched my review. And there's a very simple answer. I did it for that review, so that you could see the details. I figured it'd be much better than just metal miniatures. We can use it to get a bit of free information for some volumetric highlights on the muscles, with the use of a handy transparent red, such as this Viejo game colour Gory Red. So first things first, let's get that colour down, just through the airbrush at low pressure, nice and even, and allowing the transparency to shine that zenith all through. If you don't have an airbrush, this is achievable with some heavy glazes, but you would be working harder to keep things even. And that's actually the last we'll see of the skin for a little while, because the next job now is to prime out basically the majority of the rest of the mini in black in preparation for the later stages. So give me a few minutes to get on with that, and then we can get stuck into some fun. Okay, that's probably the biggest chore of the whole process, maybe. Next thing I want to get on with is painting out most of the armour panels with Viejo model colour USA Olive Drab. I'm going to do some accent panels here though, so any prominent armour panels that I feel will look good as accents, I'll miss them off at this stage because they're going to be a different colour. Okay, we're getting somewhere cool now. Next, I'm going to give this drab a coat of Citadel Agrax Earthshade. Now, I don't usually use Citadel shades, preferring to manually glaze in my shadows for more control. But since we'll probably be painting a fair few Vanguard, I am trying to find some ways here and there just to keep this fairly fast, and maybe sacrifice a touch of quality just to keep things sped up. So with that done and dry, I now want to start plotting in my accent panels on the armour, which are going to be yellow. So that way I can kind of get an idea of how that distributes across the whole mini and how everything balances out. Viejo model colour Gold Brown is usually my starting point of choice for yellows. And with our main colours present now, I can start poshing them up a bit. So the yellow gets a subtle glazed shadow with Viejo model colour Orange Brown. This is another reason for the Agrax earlier. This workup is going to be quite slow, and I don't really want two super slow processes on the same model. So after about 15 or 20 minutes of glazing, the yellow does now look lovely and just needs some highlights. First with the original base colour, and then with the addition of some Viejo model colour Sunny Skintone, a staple in my painting that you will see in a lot of my videos. I'm applying these almost entirely as edge highlights, just with the odd scratch added in here and there. The olive armour will also get the same treatment, first of all being highlighted with the same base tone, and then a mixture of the base tone with some Viejo game colour Dead Flesh. Here's how we're looking at the end of that. It is worth noting as well that ad hoc at the last minute I decided to put a little bit of ivory into the Dead Flesh as well, just to brighten it up even more, only for that top area behind his head. Highlighting the blacks is a mixed affair. I'll take Viejo model colour Dark Grey and Intermediate Blue, and I'll do a mixture of rough glazes and edge highlights. And that's going to get all the black volumes nicely established with some highlight, toning a lot of them far more in the direction of grey than black. Now when I'm talking about rough glazes, what I'm basically doing here is glazing with a closer colour to the base tone than you normally would. And that means I can thin it a little less, it means I can apply fewer coats, but I still get a degree of smoothness, albeit not as smooth as a normal glaze would be. It's a nice trade-off sometimes for a version of a glaze look that's less time consuming. And this is one of my key time saving techniques in my painting style, and it's well worth looking into, I think. So it was at this point I also did a few things off camera that just weren't really worth their own section. Anything I wanted to read as shiny metal has some intermediate blue. The hair's also been base coated in Intermediate Blue. Other than that, here's a look at where we're at so far. Now we also have a few areas that need a more extreme grey highlight, something nearer to white maybe. However, instead of getting any new paints out, I may as well just use mixtures of Intermediate Blue and Ivory to accomplish this, along with the same techniques as previous, just because those are colours that are on my palette and will essentially give the same effect. And that finally brings us round to time to work on the skin properly, and this will be a tale of two paints. The Gory Red that we used previously, and model colour Sunny Skintone, which again is already on my palette. In terms of the process, I'm just going to follow the volumes that the airbrush has already marked out for us with the Zenithal. Progressively taking them brighter and brighter, having that roadmap made for me, just makes this whole process super easy. And then finally, to wrap things up, it's just little details, teeth, hair, tidying up. The main thing here is probably the hair, which once again is just mixtures of Intermediate Blue and Ivory, since those are colours that are already on my palette. And with just a little bit more work and a little bit more admin, we have a finished Morat. And these take about 2.5 hours. I didn't time myself, but I was aware of roughly when I started and when I finished. And I think for line infantry, that's absolutely fine. It's a good balance of time and quality, but I suppose it's more about you. What do you think? Is this scheme worth a go? I think, personally, a whole force painted like this would probably look pretty striking, especially with those clashing yellows and reds. So stepping up from the painting desk, folks, what did you think of that colour scheme? I really hope that you liked it. It's a fun one for me to paint. It's a lot of colours that I really enjoy painting, especially those reds and yellows. And so I'm looking forward to now starting to diverge some of this across to the rest of the army. But one thing I would love to know from you folks is, out of that action pack, the Morat Aggression Forces action pack, which other model would you like to see me paint? I've probably got time in the schedule to fit in one more Morats painting tutorial, and I'd like to get some ideas, so please do leave a comment below letting me know which other model you'd be interested in seeing a paint scheme for. Massive thanks once again to Corvus Belli for sending out that action pack. I've had a really great time with it so far, exploring the miniatures, the profiles, brewing them in army, and now finally starting to get some paint on them. I'm looking forward to continuing with this Morat Aggression Forces army, and I'm even not really that mad that it's taking time away from me that I'd normally spend on my JSA. So Infinity Players, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Once again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and please do check the links below for my Patreon and affiliate links if you'd like to support the channel more directly. I'll see you in the next one, folks. Happy hobbying, and bye-bye for now.